Welcome to episode 7 of Night Bass Energy. I'm AC Slater alongside Sinden and our very special guest, Taiki Nulight. If you're a fan of night bass or UK garage or bass house in general, you no doubt have heard of Taiki Nulight and are probably a massive fan. He's built a reputation for quality and quantity when it comes to production. Over the years, we've seen Taiki's style evolve and mature along the way, constantly setting new trends within the bass house scene. Since this podcast was recorded back in February 2020, he's gone on to launch his very own label called Orient Records. Often imitated, never duplicated, please enjoy this episode of Night Bass Energy with our friend, the one and only Taiki Nulight.
Locked in.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Taiki Nulight, welcome to the pod.
Hey.
Taiki, welcome to Night Bass Energy.
Night Bass Energy.
Good to be here.
We have to keep the energy high because you, man, have had a crazy fucking couple of days of traveling.
Yeah, so
What's been going on?
I went to Australia on the 3rd of February, toured for 3 weeks, and then came home for 18 hours and then flew straight here. So
Jesus.
So you've flown around the world.
pretty much, I've done
Wondering-
it. That's my full circle moment.
Yeah, literal full circle around the globe. Unless you think it's flat and then you just went across.
And trying to find the toilet in this place as well. That was a full circle moment.
Well, I'm surprised you're alert and
I'm all good.
yeah, you're good, man. You're a trooper.
The
You're
best
a
thing is
professional.
just to keep drinking.
Yep.
That's the best thing.
Yep.
You know?
That's what he said. Yesterday I was trying to talk him into this before he left London, England, and I was like, "What do you want? Coffee? We'll get you coffee." He was like, "I just want beers." So we got him beers.
No. At one point, I was like, let's do shots.
I was like, "No, I can't do shots." But yeah, man.
How was Australia, man?
Australia was good.
I saw some footage, you smashing up the laundry.
Yeah, Laundry's always a fucking sick venue and always a sick gig. I did the day party and the night party, so there's like a terrace bit that I hadn't done before. But yeah, like
Oh, cool.
every show is good. Paul from Poster Child fucking smashed it, so shout
Big
out.
ups to Paul.
Yep, shout
Big
out
ups to
Paul.
Paul.
But it finished on Electric Circus, which was like one of my favorite venues.
Oh, nice.
Adelaide. Right?
Adelaide.
Yeah.
How is is
Jack.
okay?
Yeah.
Is it changed ownership?
Nah,
No,
it's
still the same?
because I've done it for the past 5 years, and it's
Okay.
always been the same guy.
I had some good times.
It's a wicked
Electric
venue.
Circus, yeah.
It's wicked, and all the UV and like all the, yeah, man, like all of it's just.
Which
fucking
room did you
insane.
play in?
The so there's like the terrace upstairs, the middle
Mm-hmm.
room, and then there's the bottom floor, which is the club. So
Yeah.
I just normally always at the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I think I know that Chinese Laundry is like one of your favorite clubs in the world.
It's definitely got the most energy in terms of the crowd because everyone like they'll like sing back the fucking melodies.
It's nuts. It's
And,
such a
like,
dope.
And
place.
they know every tune. So when you play something that they haven't heard, it's like double the energy, you know? And that's kind of
The Aussies have energy, man.
that's the vibe.
Yeah,
Night
and
bass energy.
you was out there recently as well.
Yeah, we did our first night bass tour out there. Me, Lorenzo, and Jack Beats. We didn't get to do laundry, but there were some vibes out there, man.
Did you do your laundry?
I did some laundry out there. Yeah. Yes, there was some laundry, not the same kind, but yeah. Yeah, it's dope.
You know,
Love Australia.
Speaking of laundry, when I first started touring when I was like, so 2014, it's 2020 now, so 6 years ago.
When you came here.
Yeah, so when I came here, I used to like, because I was like broke when I was touring back then, so I used to like wash my clothes in the bath and like hang it all up in the hotel and shit.
Bro, I've been there.
Because like
We've all been there.
Because I did
Pro
one
tip.
I did one laundry at a hotel and it was like $20 a t-shirt or something ridiculous.
I can't bring myself. I'm a cheapskate. You guys know that. I can't bring myself to pay $15 for a fucking t-shirt.
Or a sock.
It's crazy. Throw it in the
Fuck that
sink.
shit.
Throw it in the sink, man.
Right in the sink.
Freshen up. Was that 2014 when you first really started touring then?
Yeah, so 2014 was the year
Yeah.
that everything started kind of kicking off.
And you were Taiki and Nulight back then.
Yeah, so it was me,
Now you're Taiki Nulight.
just me
Yeah.
solo. But it was Rowan from Second City, shout out Rowan. He's doing his thing.
How did that start and what happened?
Oh, so I knew him back in the day when like before I started DJing, him and his friend Rene used to throw all these like forest raves, which is kind of my introduction into electronic music. They used to just like set up
Where would they throw them?
just like Forest Show, like the
Forest
village that I was from. It's just like we had this one yearly rave called Midsummers, and it's just like speakers in in the forest. And you just like anyone who just wanted to play played, and I think it was like the third year that I went, I managed to get a set. And that was like my first, and I had no idea how to DJ. Literally had no idea. So that was like my first introduction. I was like, fuck.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah, and I was like, I think at that point, because I really sucked, and I think at that point I was like, fuck, I really want to, know more about this and get more into this. And that was kind of the voyage started, I guess.
How did the set go?
Terrible. It was because it was just like it was all, none of it was 320s. It was all like shitty rips. So I was like trying to DJ shitty rips and trying to get them to mix together. It was like a horrible nightmare. But I'm glad it happened though, because it kind of made me want to go. I want to get better at this.
It's the best education.
Hard love.
Yeah, tough love. Trial by fire, as you said.
I once played like a shitty rip back in the days, and it was like a radio rip, and it had like Pete Tong. Like,
This is BBC Radio 1. You get called out for it.
I was so like young. I was like literally like my first international gig. I was so naive. I was just like I didn't know what fucking bit rates were. Like 320, like 192.
What's a bar?
You're like, there's music. I'm playing it. I remember Sweet Shop by Dr. P. Someone from our crew had an MP3 of it, and it was like probably 96K MP3, and I didn't even know, and I was like playing it. It sounded like shit, but the song was so fire. That was like the beginning of that kind of sound anyway, so it was like you can't not play that.
That tune's like a gold mine. You're like, I have this tune.
I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the forest raves. So I met him through that, and then I think it was like something super random. Like we were catching a bus back together from somewhere, and it was just about the time when I just got my first the old Dell Inspiron PCs. So I did like a bunch of paper round, saved up a bit of money, bought this PC, and I had the trial version of Fruity Loops. So I was like making beats, but not very well, and he'd kind of got wind of that and was like, "Yo, you make beats. Let's sit down and make music." And then through that, we were just like, fuck it, you know what? Let's just make an alias. Just make a duo and make some music. And it was like really bad music, but it's still music nonetheless.
So when did you guys start? Like 2000 and like
10?
2010. Okay, cool.
2009 maybe? 10? I was in college. I was the first year at college. So I was like 17 or 16 at the time. Going to all these...
And you were just teaching yourselves, like both of you kind of just kind of guiding each other along the way, just trial and error.
It was a lot of information from the internet, so it was like a lot of YouTube. Even though there wasn't many YouTube tutorials back then, it was like a lot of. I taught myself through that, but it was trial and error. Like you try something, it doesn't work, and you move on.
Yeah.
And like the other thing was because I had the trial version of Fruity Loops, I couldn't save, so I had to finish a song in one session and bounce it out.
That's
so
amazing.
I think that's kind of
that's amazing. And you know who else has that same story? Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy.
When he made Soulja Boy Tell Him, it was on the
trial
version of Fruit. I saw an interview where he says that.
That's not,
dude. That's amazing.
That's so sick, man.
Fruit Loops is really a catalyst for like a lot of amazing music, especially dubstep.
Yeah,
really.
I think it's definitely like it's just user friendly. Because it's got the sequencer, so it's kind of easy to pick up if you have no idea about music production. I think that was kind of what appealed to me, was just like the whole interface. Yeah, pretty much.
Mad. So you was on Fruity, kind of like got your chops, like built your chops on that, and then like what happened after that?
It was a couple years of grafting and grinding and making terrible music. And then it wasn't until 2011. So like my first like real moment in music was so Johnny Scratchley, who lived in Forest Show, ran Outlook Festival. So through Rowan, we'd managed to get a booking at Outlook. It's a really small gig, but it so happened that the hotel room next to our hotel room was Benger's.
Okay.
And so he was chilling on the...
Shout out Benny.
Shout out Benny.
Yeah, what up?
He was chilling on the balcony, and I was playing one of my dubstep tunes called Dirty Habit, and he clocked it, and he was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is one of my tunes that I made." And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna play it tonight. Because he was playing at the main stage, like, it was like 40,000 people or whatever.
That's so
he was like,
cool.
He was like, "You should come." Imagine like 17 years old. He's like, "Yeah, you should come up to the gig. You know, we'll get you backstage." He dropped this tune, and it was like there might even be like a clip of it on YouTube that I put up, and it was like the most terrible video. You can't see anything, so I'm just like absolutely wilding out,
Just gassing.
But that was the first moment where I was like, "Oh, this could actually be a career. Like this could actually turn into something. It's not just a hobby,
Right.
you know what I mean? It could turn into something." So that was definitely the moment where I was like, "Holy shit, shit could work out."
Wow. I didn't know the connection that you had. That was he was the kind of maybe put you on early.
Yeah, no, like
the first one to really.
He was the first big name ever, or anyone to kind of recognize. So yeah, shout out Benny.
He heard it on a balcony.
Yeah,
That's really sick.
on like my old MacBook Air, which is like
Not even on like some speakers.
no, it's just
on the
on the
laptop.
laptop. And he was like, "Yeah," he was like, "Send it to me." He ripped the CD then and there, and was like, "I'm gonna play it as my second tune."
Well, that's amazing.
Like
man.
really, yeah, man, that was a good moment.
When did things like pick up and you found your sound? Because you were making dubstep,
Yeah, I was making dubstep for a while.
and both of you were making it, or you were making it, and then he was DJing with you. Or
Yeah, so he's DJing with me. I was doing most of the production. I mean, he'd sit on sessions with me and be like, "Oh, that doesn't work," or he'd kind of give insight on that. But yeah, I was doing most of the production. We got into links with Luke from UKF, and he put up one of our tunes called Rising Up, and that got like 1 million plays over a month. So that was a lot of exposure. But after that, really, I started kind of looking towards people like Red Light, because he was doing more like it was house, but it wasn't house. It was like house at 136. It was like really fast, jungly.
Coming from that jungle background,
Yeah.
drum and bass.
So like I was rating that a lot. So that I started to make that, and then gradually slowed down. I think for me anyway, in my opinion, when I was growing up, the tempo slows down. So the older I get, the slower the tempo kind of deal.
So what are you working at now?
Yeah, where were we at?
I'm at like, I don't know, I'm making stuff for like 120, 124. Anywhere from like 120 to 125.
I feel like the slower the tempos, the more swing you can get out of some of the grooves sometimes.
I think you can just put more detail in between
Yeah.
everything.
So in like 20 years, you're gonna be at
Like
like,
1 BPM.
yeah, you're gonna be at like 80.
you can be chopping and screwing.
So all right, UKF put up your tune. You got 1 million views in a month.
That was, yeah, so that exposed me enough to kind of be on a platform to put up my own music for people to pay attention to. And then that was round about the time when you came into my life, AC, and then you were like, "Oh, this is dope shit." And then from there, it was
How
like,
did you find out about?
I think it was
what Taiki
AIM.
was
I think we
doing?
used to talk on AIM. Do you remember AIM?
Yeah,
AIM and Skype and all the old.
we were still using that.
Yeah.
and it was like 2013 or
2012, 2013,
2012,
yeah.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
that-
I mean, I think you did. You did some stuff with like Hervé.
Oh
with
yeah,
Josh.
so that's I did
Big up Hervé.
Yeah, big up Hervé.
Big up Josh. I did an EP or two even. It's hard to say because he's got so many different aliases. So I was
He
like,
does.
so I was like working with a few of them, and then I did the Lost EP, which had that and It Ain't Even About the Dough record, which got lots
was
of
huge.
That was the record that got a lot of attention over here, and that's the one that Loz also paid attention to. So that was like the flourishing of that sound. That's when I was like, yes, this is my sound.
That
What was
kind of
this? What was the
breakbeat.
sound like? Kind of more broken-y.
So the It's Not About the Dough was like a broken 808 tune, and then the other one was just like a straight ghost wobble,
Yeah.
wobbler, pure wobbler.
It ain't even about the dough.
It's not
Was
even about the dough.
Yeah, it's not even about the dough. It was a banger. I played that in every set for like 3 years. Yeah, and then you did a EP for my label Party Like Us.
Yep.
Pre-night
Keyed
bass.
up. Which made no sense because everyone was like, "Why has it got an apostrophe on the ed? Like
Yeah.
keyed up." Like,
Yeah, why did it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that was my mistake. I don't know. But it was we did a collab on there.
Yeah.
That led into Night Bass.
Yeah, so
Eventually.
that whole EP was just like pure experimenting. So it was like that, like I was saying earlier to you, that was like uncharted territory in terms of that sound. It was.
I love that EP. That EP holds up. It's more subdued than like stuff people make now. It's heavy, but it's like chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not so in your face.
That's the kind of the vibe I was going for. Was like I didn't want to go the full screechy, but I also wanted to keep it lo-fi. So it's like trying to find a balance. I don't know. Like I can never make my mind up about what kind of music I want to make, ever.
But you have your sound.
Do I?
Yeah, you have a sound. I mean, your sound evolves quickly, and it's always unique. I don't know. Like that was really unique for back then because everyone was kind of doing like, I guess the early version of bass house. Like Lorenzo was kind of dominating and kind of creating that, and then you came and it was a little bit more of like a garage.
Yeah, so
tinge
that was
to
like
it.
jacking was big back then, but I was really into fidget. So I grew up on like you and both of you guys and Jack Beats. That was like the Ghetto Bass CD.
Yeah, yeah.
1 and 2, that was like what I banged in my bedroom by myself all night long and being like, holy shit, like, how are they making these tunes? Like getting obsessed with sound design. I think that was around the time when I was really obsessed with sound design.
Yeah. Yeah, sound design was really dictating like the sound back then.
Yeah, it was definitely the foundation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, Ghetto Bass was definitely a seminal release. I feel like a lot of people cite that, like, from that era,
Yeah.
It was like the changing of this kind of house was kind of exploring different territories, and
Yeah.
we were moving into something like away from what traditionally is house music.
I think that's why it was so good.
Taking more chances, or maybe like venturing out to the kind of
Unknown.
the real like the shit that we grew up with, and
Yeah.
we wanted to put that in the music.
I feel like every guest we have on here, when we get to this point in their history, it's always turn to Sinden and mention that moment in time that
The
changed
Count
their
Cinder,
life.
you know what? Mega, the Mega record that you guys done was the tune that I used to be the notorious kid that went to house parties, and then as soon as I turned up, they'd be like, "Put your phone on, put your phone. He's got the tunes. Put the phone on." So I used to bang Mega, and everyone would be like losing their fucking minds. Like, what is this tune?
Yeah, it was a mad tune.
So I think that's also like half the reason I started making music is because I used to hunt for records. I used to like day and night spend fucking hours on the internet searching for tunes that no one's ever heard, so that when I turned up to the next house party, I could be like, fucking listen to this.
Yeah.
Is that something you still kind of stick to? Is trying to find stuff no one else is?
I guess it. So like I was saying, so that led more into like I'd hear certain records and be like, why isn't it this way? So I started editing and bootlegging stuff, and then that's when I started really producing, because I was like, that needs that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or this record's missing that. So I just add little artifacts to make it better, in my opinion.
And just personalize it for yourself
Exactly.
as well.
So when people heard it, they'd be like, oh my God.
I think that's a great entry point, because especially that time period, I think a lot of people did that. I did that like in like 2007, 8, the blog days. Like I would just take a song and kind of make it my own, and people were really into that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way to learn how to make music.
Yeah.
If anyone's trying to make music, it's like you're not starting from scratch. You're kind of getting
Just
an understanding.
chopping and editing, and that's how like you obviously understand bars, and then you understand how a song's structured out, and then just trial and error, and
Yeah. For me, that was like the way I started producing, was just really like re-editing or kind of doing like bootleg remixes of tracks. It's just I didn't really know how to produce, but I knew how to I knew what a song needed, like to fit into what I was doing.
And just like the basics of cutting and pasting.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that.
So like when you came here, so we were looking at these posters. We're in the office for Night Bass recording this, and there's like all these old flyers on the wall. And the very second Night Bass ever is Taiki Nulight. That was your first time to America. I remember picking you up from the airport.
Dude, I got grilled at immigration. It was
You were so young.
They're like, why are you here? And I was like, I don't know.
I'm not a DJ.
Who was the secret guest on that?
Do you remember?
taking
I don't
you back.
remember. I have no idea.
I don't remember. That was when. Because I got like super excited. And I yeah.
Oh, I remember.
So your first time in America?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the first day. It's like the
So
first,
yeah, you came. You stayed in my building, my apartment building, Castle's apartment. He was out of town.
Yeah.
Shout out to Castle.
Yep.
So you had like your own apartment basically for like a few days.
Yep.
And after the show, you went out with someone, I forget who, and you got really fucked up.
And like, I'm not gonna drop any names, but it was like the one. Yeah. It was the.
Yeah, you were at a certain label's office building.
Yeah, and it was just like.
And you guys were getting fucked up. I wasn't there, but yeah.
It was just overwhelming of everything. It was like.
You were like, "Who? I know that guy. I know that guy." Damn, he was like, "Welcome to America, motherfucker."
Was it your first international show? It wasn't your first
No.
international
Okay,
show.
so my first international show was in France, and I got booked to play this venue, quote unquote venue, and
quotes.
bro. I took a 7-hour coach from England to France, right, Paris, got there, and I was looking at the map, and I walked past this restaurant, and I was going, this can't be the venue, and it was literally a fucking restaurant with people sitting down and having dinner,
Yeah.
and there was one booth monitor and a mixer, and there's like me playing tear out dubstep. I was like, no, this is so odd. But yeah, that was my first international booking.
How were the diners like responding to
So
this?
the guy who booked me, he was
Right.
the bar manager as well. He kept on coming over every 10 minutes, being like, "Can you turn it down a little bit?"
Oh my god!
I was
How
like,
did you get this gig?
it was just like
That's
a rat.
so
It's
wild.
just, I think back then it was just like you kind of take any gigs that you can to kind of get your name out there. So
Yeah. I mean, we've all been, getting our start in the game, and you just, it's cool. I'm in another country. Yeah, I'll take it.
and also,
yeah.
back then, when you're just starting out, everything's profound. So like everything's exciting. So you just, especially with me. So because I had Rowan and Rene who's touring with me, so it was just like 3 mates going abroad to get fucked up, and that was, even though the gig was shit, we still had a really good time. So it's like regardless of. It
Like
didn't
just gassed to be there.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm missing college and I'm in France. This is sick. You know?
Yeah.
Ruining someone's dinner.
Yeah. What kind of perceptions did you have for like DJing like abroad, like before you did it? Like, were you like, how did you think this was gonna go?
I didn't really have any opinion of it. I just kind of.
You just went with
I
the
had
flow.
I had an arsenal of tunes that I liked, that I played, that I thought other people would like, but they didn't. So, especially at the restaurant.
It sounds like when you started touring, you didn't know what to expect, so you weren't really prepared for what was being thrown your way. So
I was just a sponge. I was taking in whatever. I had no opinion, and I was just taking everyone else's opinion just to see, because it was like all so new to me. I had no idea.
So how long did it take you to kind of figure it out? I feel like I remember talking to you about it. Like, you were like, "What do I do about this?" And I'm like, "You'll figure it out." And
I think it's just like, once you do something a certain amount of times, you just get accustomed to it. So especially like with like the reason that LA is like my second home is because you've brought me over so many times that it's become a part of my life, and I've just gotten used to it.
Mm-hmm. You tour enough, and you start to pick things up.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I can't miss my flight. Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anyone.
Don't go to the after party.
I don't think
Like,
anyone comes into this industry being like, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone learns there's a stepping stone to everything. Especially with this industry. It's like there's so many things behind closed doors that you don't know that you start to find out, and then you're like, oh, I get it now. I get the industry.
Yeah, once they pull the sheet off of a lot of things, you're like, wait, this is it? This
It's kind of like Black. It's kind of like
This
Black.
is the guy?
It's kind of like Black Mirror. You're like, oh,
That's a great analogy.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty dark too.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, you live and you learn, and I've enjoyed every fucking second of it, so I can't complain. You know.
What was like another step after that? Your first time to America, like what happened after that? That was like, this can be a career. Like what was like another big step in your career that?
I think it was just like constantly coming back to LA, and like the amount of attention I was getting from people from LA. That was at a point where I was like, holy shit, like I'm bigger in America than I am in the UK, kind of deal. And that was like because everyone comes here to fucking make it, and it's the mecca for media in general. So
yeah, we were talking about this earlier in the bar and off mic, and I was just astounded about like the ratio between the shows over here compared to the UK. It's like
it's nuts.
And it's not, yeah. And I feel like a lot of people have that shared experience where like they're playing more in a different country than their home country.
I also feel like because there's so many artists in the UK doing this, not the same thing, but there's so many artists in the UK that is so oversaturated with the industry in particular. So like because it's booming here in America, because it's like especially our sound is new in America, and it's like, it's growing fucking exponentially. Mm-hmm. It's like the perfect time to kind of catch it. Whereas in the UK, we've had dance music for the last fucking 20 years. It's been a part of our culture. So I feel like in a certain respect, a lot of people are spoilt. Mm-hmm. I find it a lot harder to impress crowds in the UK than over here. Everyone here is just, they just want to have a fucking good time. Whereas like, in the UK, there's just like people with their fucking arms crossed, looking at you, being like, drop a dub. Like,
do you feel like the atmosphere is like, how do you compare the two? Like over here, it's just like way more energetic.
Yeah,
like
everyone. I feel like over here, everyone's just like way more open, just happier in general, and just want to have a good time. That's kind of the three.
How do you compare the UK and the US raves? Like,
oh, I love it here. I love it here so much. But that's not to say that. Obviously, I come from a background of raving in the UK, so there were golden days, especially when I was, being a teenager growing up with music. Like it was kind of the same feeling that I'm having now these days.
Yeah,
like yeah,
I get that too.
It's
I feel like
as
a UK, as an English guy coming over to the US, like, and I've seen both sides. I do feel like there's kind of like something in the air over here, and something, that is
someone in the water.
Solid, yeah. It's cool, yeah.
Well, yeah, but like I said, I love it over here. I always look forward to every single tour. I look forward to visiting places I've never visited before. It's half the reason I do what I do is because I love traveling and talking to people.
Yeah.
What do you think about America? So like growing up in the UK, you probably get like all these stereotypes about America.
Right,
like
so
what was like surprising? What was like, duh.
So when I first think of like America, I think of America as like one entity, like Americans. But I think once you start coming here over and over again, you kind of start to see that there's like different states have their. It's just different. There's like so many different.
A bunch of countries.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like
country.
every state has its own cuisine and their own outlook on life, and everything's different. Like I feel like over east, everyone's like quite intense, and then over west, everyone's like calm.
Yeah. And all in between.
Yeah, and it's just interesting to see that there's like so many different nations trying to federate, and that's why there's so many conflictions
and even like different accents, different places,
exactly,
different food.
Yeah, it's just like different countries. It's like one big Europe. Is America,
but we're all assholes. I remember a friend of mine that he moved to from England when he was young. And we kind of grew up together. My friend Rufus, you met him.
Yeah.
Well, big up Rufus.
Big up Rufus.
He always told me when he was a kid, like it was like the 90s, so it was like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and stuff like that. So he was like, "Oh, we're moving to America. It's gonna be like Cowabunga, dude," and all that stuff. And he moved to fucking West Virginia, and it was like hillbillies and stuff. And he's like, "Where am I?" You know what I mean? So yeah, you have this kind of like, I guess like central idea of what the country is, based on what.
But then you go to different cities and it's like completely fucking different. Like everyone's different, and I love that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Didn't you say you did like last year? was it 2 shows in the UK and like 60 in the US?
Yeah,
That's so crazy, bro. You need to move here.
Yeah.
Would you move here?
100%.
Yes.
I think I'm just delaying the inevitable.
We miss you.
Yeah, man. We're gonna work out a plan for you to come out here. We're gonna
crowd fund for Taiki.
Get in while you can.
Yeah, man. Like everyone else is out here, so come join the crew.
Yep. No, it's definitely in conversation. 100,000%.
Yeah, man.
So
especially with Brexit now, like.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean?
Are we talking politics?
He said the B word.
Politics.
Have you felt Brexit at all?
Nah. Oh yeah. It's just a load of people. It's just everyone complaining.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen from it.
Yeah. We'll avoid the Brexit.
Yeah. Let's not do politics.
This is not a political.
It's really
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the music stuff. How did it feel putting out your first album? I know for me that was a big step, doing an album.
It was definitely an accolade I wanted, but I definitely didn't know the importance of an album. So it kind of worked out for me though, because I wasn't overthinking it, and I was just like, these are 11 tracks I really like. I'm gonna put out. But
Can you elaborate what you mean about like the importance?
Well,
like,
because
what did you not understand that you understand now?
Because with an album, I feel like it's your time to experiment and do things that you don't normally do. Whereas for me, it was just stuff I was doing already, but it's just like the 11 strongest medley of tracks I'd be making then.
I think the album's strong. I did think you experimented a bit, because like that was like you were doing a lot of tear out kind of like droppy stuff, and then I feel like you kind of approached the sound that you're doing now
with
like,
the album.
Yeah, like I feel like that was like the testing ground.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong.
no, you are right. That was. So it was like a load of tracks I'd been sitting on, and it was just for me the perfect opportunity to introduce those tracks. Like The Business is one of them, is like super techie, and like I'd previous to that I'd never put out anything techie before, so I was like,
and that's kind of your thing now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like a halfway house in between.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, like your progression, like the way you move through styles, like it's crazy. Like you're always very cutting edge, and then I always notice you put something out, and then people copy it. You know, he's throwing his hands up.
I don't know, man.
And that's the.
I'm just telling you. I'm not asking you.
Hey, man, I don't know. I've got no opinion.
I'm not saying that's. I'm saying that's good. Like you're paving.
That's flattering.
Yeah, you're paving.
Yeah.
I think you're pushing the music forward, like heavy. Like you did. There's like a VIP of Lil Mama that you did of. It's like you and Shift Cube.
Oh, the new one.
There's like a VIP.
Is there?
Yeah, it's just a refixy thing.
It's so like, I play that in every set, and it's just like.
Yo, Pastor Dobbs.
Yo. It's so minimal. It's so minimal.
The original was already kind of minimal when it drops.
They took you. I don't know if you edit or both of you edited. I don't know who did it, but it's like it stepped up a notch a little bit, but it's still minimal, and like it drops, and it's just a kick and a bass, and it's like
I think it was just more like how I'd want the record to be now. So I think it was less a refix. I didn't go into it with the mentality of like, oh, I want it to be a VIP. It was
Can we
more
put
just
that out. Let's put that out.
We can put it out.
Yeah, let's put that shit out, man. The people need it.
But like, give it to me for a couple of months,
and then release it after.
Yeah. Then let me get some mileage out of it.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I think you're always onto something new, and I think you own it, and no one can touch it. Really. I mean. Sorry, I don't know why I'm complimenting you so much.
I'm flattered.
You're turning red.
Yeah, man. I feel the same way, man. You got some like so many different styles, like the mix you did of just like kind of just shit that you were just sitting on that wasn't.
Oh, the
like,
unreleased mix.
Yeah, the unreleased stuff, like
Yeah,
like
that was just me flexing, really.
I like that shit, man. Like the world needs more of that. Like it's the album format is there for you, or that kind of mix format is there for you to kind of flex your different styles. It doesn't always have to be tear out, and you can dictate the pace, you know.
I think more just like I like uncharted territory. I like doing things I've never done before. So
Different flows.
I think
man.
that was especially with the unreleased mixtapes. It was just a way for me to be like, look, I'm not just a bass producer.
Yeah,
I can make ABC. Like, I want to be respected as just a producer, not just as a bass producer.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just an artist in your own right, and then
Yeah,
the album
exactly.
format just gives you that kind of
Yeah.
that adventurous kind of
And also, it's just an accolade I've always wanted to do an album. I think it's a great thing to take off, in my opinion, for me.
for sure, man.
I think
sure.
that people have had an idea that albums were irrelevant and no one wanted them for a while.
Nah, that's bullshit.
And now, like, because that seemed to be the mood when I did mine. And that's around the same time you did yours. And I kind of found that people loved it. Like, I think people want albums. I think the talking heads of the industry say they don't. Obviously, streams of songs and all that bullshit is, like, big. But I think as an artist...
Just from a creative point.
Yeah, as an artist and to please your fan base, I think they love an album. You know what I mean? Especially if you put a lot of work into it.
And also, it's
stuff.
quite unheard of for like an electronic album. Whereas like albums, for me, albums mean like acoustic music. Not acoustic music, but like songs. You know what I mean? So like when a bass artist does an album, I get really interested because it's like, what are they gonna? It's just just a question mark. So I don't know what's gonna be on there or.
The album, what it is for an album is definitely changing now. Albums are getting shorter. They're getting like
1-track album.
Like seriously, like albums like 30 minutes now. Like,
the first album, you said you learned a lot about what you should have done. Can we talk about you're doing a second album?
Yeah.
You're working on it now. What have you picked up? How are you applying it? Are you thinking about other things now? Like
Just big singles for now. Like having I think mainly having singles to kind of draw people into the album. So having hits before and then announcing the album and then having a bunch of shit that no one's heard. Instead of just like releasing stuff that no one's ever heard, which I, in my opinion, I would like from an artist that I'd listen to. If they dropped 12 singles that I'd never heard, that'd be awesome. But I think from a business standpoint, it's better to like have singles that are established to introduce the album and then kind of
just build off. Build off that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I stand at the moment. But I'm pulling my hair up. I'm like trying to. Fucking had so many.
So that's in progress right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it is in progress. It will drop. I promise.
This year.
I promise.
This year.
so, like you're kind of experimenting a bit with this one outside the singles thing, doing because you said you want to do more like show your range or whatever.
Yeah, that's. I think more importantly, I've definitely been guilty of not finishing something and just kind of just putting it out. So now I'm really taking care to like just attention to detail. So like making sure every record's completely finished. So I used to because I'd get so bored of making records. So I'd make one. So like from January to when I did the first 3 mixtapes, I did like 30 tunes a month for
Dude, you worked so fast. When we was in the studio together in that Ausler building,
yeah,
like
we wrote
you
4 tunes.
You like, dude.
But that's what I'm saying is
like-
I get bored so easy. My attention span is like nothing. So, but now I'm kind of the polar opposite. I'm instead of just working quickly, I'm actually taking care and making sure the records are right. But I think it was a blessing in disguise when I did that because the workflow is good. So now I've got that down. It's just more of like making sure the attention to details.
So you're just going in on the finer details, and you're
Exactly.
kind of like just making sure like.
So instead of like
everything's
making
and,
instead of making 30 records and putting out all 30, I'd make 30 and then pick the top 10
right,
kind of deal.
And do you notice a difference?
Yeah, 100%.
And what is it like quality? Or?
Just quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you like I agree with Graham. Like you work really fast, and I always mention that, and I'm jealous because like I work really slow, like really slow. And so when I'm in with you, I'm like, I get inspired. So I like after I work with you, I'm like, I'm back alone. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make 3 songs today. You know what I mean? Like work for like 2 hours and then switch to a new thing. But it's good to see you kind of take your time and focus and make something.
I think everything in moderation. I think I just want to find a good balance. I've done both polar opposites, so I want to find a balance and like have good quality and quantity, not either or. I need to have both. That's kind of what I'm working towards this year. Definitely, yeah.
That's good, man. That's a good objective. Really, just kind of like hone in on like what you really like get excited about.
Yeah, and also like if I'm bad at something, I just focus on that and be good at it instead of I used to neglect it and be like, oh, I'm not good at that, so I'm just gonna ignore it. You know what I mean? So now I'm like actively looking out for what I'm bad at so that I can be better at it.
Yo, I like that.
And I like that too.
I do the same thing. I avoid. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and like that's always a detriment.
That's cool. All right, I learned a little nugget. I like that.
Don't be a procrastinator.
Yeah,
just fucking hit it head on.
Face your
Face your
fears.
fear.
Face your fears. Jump off that building. Eat a bug. You know.
Eat a bug and jump off.
Don't eat a bug. There's great food out there.
So, what are some like high moments you've had? Like looking back at your career so far, you're building up. You're just starting, I know. But like, what are some amazing moments? Some stuff
Night-based festival. That was
awesome.
fucking fire.
Thanks for that plug.
That was sick.
Boomtown night-based festival.
Boomtown was crazy.
That was nuts. I remember just seeing the sea of people.
It didn't look like people.
Remember when they opened the gates and everyone ran? I think that was the best feeling. It's like they're all here for us.
We did this stage at a festival called Boomtown in the UK. And there's a stage. How many stages are there? There's like 10 stages or more.
But we did Bang High, which is the biggest stage.
Yeah, we did a stage called Bang High, and we got there early. Our whole crew. We did a night-based takeover. All the DJs, everyone, we all showed up together, and the stage wasn't open yet. It's daytime in a field, and like, we're all goofing off, getting there, getting our credentials, walking in, and then we make it to the stage, and like, sound check, whatever. All these people start gathering, but there's security guards kind of keeping.
Yeah, because they didn't let anyone in past like before a certain time.
The stage wasn't open yet, and then they started kind of pushing the security guards, and then it was close to time to open, and then suddenly it was just like
boom! It's just a
thousands of people running straight to the front of the stage, and you're looking down, and you're like, what, 50, 70 feet up above them, and it was awesome, man.
And it was like 30,000 people. Like it was.
I don't know the number, but it was high.
It was a lot of fucking people.
It was really cool because I do remember like it was definitely the biggest crowd I've ever played because I remember looking down and being like, it doesn't even look like people. Like it just looks like
pixels.
Yeah. It was really cool, man. And you couldn't. It was nuts. And Boomtown's amazing. If you ever get the chance, go to Boomtown. It's so cool. And it was so awesome of them to let us do that. And it was like, I'll never forget that. That was a huge experience.
Yeah, that for me was like, I rode that buzz for like a month.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so motivated,
Yeah. You seem to love Australia. Were you like fucking gassed the first time you went there?
Yeah, so the first time I went there was, again, 2014. Mm-hmm. I did something like 11 shows in 17 days or something. It was something crazy.
That's a high volume, man.
And I remember the first day I got there, I got really fucking excited and got way too fucked up. And it just kind of ruined the whole tour for me. So I was like...
Because you're playing catch up all the time.
Yeah, because I was just like, the next day I was just drinking to catch up. And then I finished the tour and I came back home and I got ill for a month.
That will do it to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was a lesson learned.
There's nothing like a binge to put your body out of whack. Yeah.
That was definitely a lesson learned. So I know to save it till the end of the tour now. So yeah.
So you've gotten really good at touring. I know we talked about it earlier. I like to see this rounded out.
Yeah, some tour.
Oh man, I've got it down. So like on a plane,
tips.
When you're sitting on the plane, because what I normally do is I put my hands on the tray thing and I'll put my head down to go to sleep. And 9 times out of 10, the cunt in front of me will always try and put the chair back. Yeah. So I'll push his chair forward with my head while I'm sleeping. And like I've gotten so good at that people just give up. So they just set up straight now. Yeah. So that's
got a hard head.
Tip
strong
number 1.
Neck. So you gotta do those neck exercises.
I love Australian airports, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that the fucking time that it takes to like get to the gate is like you can turn up in
Nothing.
like half an hour before your flight.
Bro, it's so
And,
good.
like,
And
get
you
on
don't
that
you don't have to
flight.
take your shoes off.
It's like
Yeah.
pre 9/11 here.
It's like like pre TSA or like approved. What's it called? Approved TSA.
Pre-check.
Pre-check. It's like pre-check for everyone, so that they don't give a fuck.
You know what's crazy is, have you ever flown just internally in New Zealand? I took a flight, a couple of different flights, like from whatever one small city to another, and I was with my wife Susie, and we just like, all right, cool, let's go through security. You don't have to show a boarding pass. There was no security. We just walked onto the plane. There was like someone could have walked in off the street and got it. That's how amazing those people are in New Zealand. Like you can just like take a domestic flight by just walking into the airport.
It's like
Flash
getting
a boarding pass and just go on the plane. They didn't look at your bag. You didn't go through a metal detector. It was nothing.
it's like getting a taxi.
It's super chill.
It was chill.
I had the same thing in Japan. Like one time I lost my passport and got on a flight and flew in domestically without ID.
Mad.
Yeah.
But Japanese people are next level. Like
Yeah, they.
I've heard
So
some crazy
polite.
stories about like Japanese businessmen who like drink during a business meeting, get super fucked up, and then they'll just sleep on the floor. And they'll just get up and go to work, and it's like socially acceptable to do that.
When you leave the club and it's like 5 a.m., you see them in like Starbucks and stuff, like sleeping, like a lot of people. And you'll see like people sleeping on the street in Tokyo and stuff
Yeah, that's
that
what I
are like
mean.
in business suits.
Yeah, they'll just get up and brush themselves off and be like, "Yep, next meeting." Like that's dope.
That's hard
Hey.
work ethic and party ethic.
Yeah.
That's not a pro tip.
They work hard.
That's not a
Don't sleep on the
process.
street when you're on tour. If you're a businessman, cool. If you're traveling, don't do it.
Do you remember that gig we did in England? I can't remember which city it was, but it was when everyone's smoking backstage and that woman went sick at me because I was smoking my vape and I set off the fire alarm.
When
And
was
I
this?
remember, and we were walking out and I mouthed something to her and she fully just came over and throttled me.
Fuck, where was that?
It was like the Irish social centre in like Nottingham or something. It was like me, you, and Hamish. Shout out Hamish.
Hamish, what up? I don't remember this.
You must. And it was like, you saved, because I'm not going to say what I mouthed, but I mouthed it to her. She was the bouncer, and she like,
Oh, yeah,
she like,
yeah.
she fully took me by my neck and like smashed me up against the wall. And I was
Yeah,
like,
she got you,
I was
bro.
like, what the fuck are you doing? And you were like, allow it, it's cool. You know what though?
Tough
You know what pissed me off about that is that
Tough person.
I was
right there.
smoking my vape, right? Everyone else was smoking cigarettes. And I'm the only, because she came up to me initially and she was like, if you don't stop smoking that vape, I'm going to throw you out the window. And I was like, what the fuck?
You know,
You really had it out for the
what's
vapes.
coming back to me now is that you were kind of being a little bit of a smart ass.
Was I?
Yeah, but she kind of had it out for you also, so you were both kind of going at, you know what I mean? Both not backing down. And then I remember her slamming you up against the wall or whatever. That is some funny shit.
Is this some UK shit?
She's just
Yeah, that's
racist,
very
bro.
UK. It's very UK.
It's very UK.
We got to go back there and see what she's up to. Was that at Stealth?
No. It was like some Irish social centre.
Not very social.
Not very
Not
social.
very social.
The Irish Antisocial Club.
I've got crazy stories of when I was like really young. So the reason I moved to the UK in the first, so when I was living in Mongolia, my mum used to go.
Wait, fill us in on that.
So
yeah, rewind.
I moved to England when I was like 6.
Right.
Before that, my mum she worked for Save the Children, so she used to come over to the UK a bunch on business. And one day I made her write a fake letter to my school as a joke. She was just humouring me to say that I was leaving the school to move to England. She wrote it, we had a laugh, she threw it away. I took the letter back out and ironed the letter so it was straight and I gave it into my teacher. Right? My teacher dismissed me from school and called my mum saying, good luck with your life in England. She went fucking sick and was like, what the fuck? And literally, I shit you not, a week later, we moved to England.
Wow.
Like a week later. And like, my mom tells me that story and I'm like, I still can't believe it. But it's like, that fucking happened. And then we moved to the UK.
What a proactive little boy.
And then there's one other story which is quite insidious. So like, when I was really young, I used to be a bit of a pyromaniac. So I used to light candles and put it in my mom's wardrobe.
Oh my God.
And she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
The new light.
The new light.
There it is.
The new light. Your
The
house
new
on
light.
fire.
Twisted fire
It's
stuff.
meant to be.
Yeah.
That's
Mad.
a
How did
crazy
you
story.
iron the letter? Like
Like, I took it out and I remember like
what?
we used to have this heat mat, which was like those so my grandma used to have a bad back, so she used to have those heat mats that you lay on. So I must have put the letter underneath the heat mat to like I was 6 years old. Like,
Dude, you were a prodigy. Excuse
like,
the pun.
who the fuck does that shit, you know? Like,
Taiki Nulight.
yeah.
So it was destined to be.
I remember
You moved to the UK and then
Yeah, well, I moved to the UK. I didn't know a word of English. Mum threw me into a primary school and was just like, figure it out. I figured it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Grew up in Bromley. Shout out Bromley.
I grew up near Bromley, man. I was born in Farnborough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Similar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bromley
yeah.
was a vibe. I mean, it wasn't a vibe back then, but it's a vibe.
It's a vibe still.
That's incredible, man. I actually didn't know that.
I don't think I've ever told that to anyone.
That's a cool story.
That's a cool story.
That's crazy. And then you just, jumped right in, learned English. Do you ever go back to Mongolia?
So my dad's still there. The last time I was there when I was like 15. But it's very much like you go there to detox because it's like just landscape. I mean, the city is like any other Asian city, but like the reason you go to Mongolia is to like go to the landscape and enjoy the fucking nature and have no phones and no laptops. Because I did that back in 2015 with my mum. I had 2 weeks with no electronics, and it was fucking nice. So nice.
Yeah, right.
Is it beautiful?
It's beautiful because it's untouched. It's just nomadic
dope.
families.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah.
It's cool, man.
Dude, we should all go to Mongolia.
I know, it's
do a
because of your
retreat.
dad, bro.
Go for a
I mean, he's so big.
night-based retreat.
Yeah.
The DJs need to go to Mongolia.
Night-based Mongolia. That's fire.
That is
New
fire.
light. That new light.
But yeah, it's very much a culture shock. Like, I remember, you know what? That year that I was there in 2015, Diplo and Toki Monster was playing at it's the biggest music festival in Mongolia, and there was like 30 people
Yeah.
at Diplo, and I was losing my mind, being like, "What the fuck is going on?"
When was this?
2015.
Okay.
Like,
That's
absolutely
crazy.
insane. But that's what I mean. That they don't understand that culture. It's so alien to them. It's not something they're accessible to. So like,
Yeah,
I
I don't like associate Mongolia with
that's what I'm
any
saying.
kind of music,
Cutting edge music.
scene. Yeah. I might be wrong. you
No,
know?
no, it's not. It's all very traditional. There's no, you know. So that's why I was so surprised when those two got booked and I saw them and I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? Like, of all the places in the world, why are they here? Like,
Do you feel a connection to Mongolia? Like, do you know what's going on? And
No.
Okay.
not for a while.
You're straight up British.
Born and bred. Well, more or less. I'm whitewashed.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. And soon to be American too.
even whiter washed.
We're working on it.
I hear that vape
it's
going. Wow. That
Daft.
sounds really intense.
It's a nice noise. Almost as nice as the beer cracking open.
Second best sound.
What's planned for the tour, man? Like, you're over here, you're gonna do night bass. Like,
Night bass tomorrow.
What's next? What's coming up?
So
for
night
you?
bass, sound tomorrow, San Diego Friday, and then
Dinner with me.
Just surviving
with you,
after
and then-
like the crazy travels you've had.
well, my girl lives in Orlando, so gonna go see her.
Okay,
and then go and do the High 8 tour. Hashtag High 8 tour.
So how is that like being a DJ and having a long distance relationship across an ocean? How is that?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Like we speak every day. I mean, it was the same with my ex. Like I'd grown up my whole life having long distance, so kind of used to it. Gives me time to work.
It is pretty tough
It can be tough, yeah.
as a DJ, like, you know, you're traveling a lot, especially for like those extended tours overseas.
I think
Just gotta find a way to work it out.
I think hotel life. I hate hotels. That's the one. Like I hate being in different hotels all the time. That's one. Aspect.
Do you feel like you can't get a good night's sleep in a hotel?
No, but it's just like
I do. I like my bed.
It's more just
As
like
much as a hotel is comfortable.
I like familiar faces and I like being somewhere familiar. So when I'm somewhere where I don't know anyone, I get a bit anxious, and yeah, I don't like that. Yeah.
I can feel you.
But the best feeling is coming home.
Yeah.
It's always the
You've been
best
gone
feeling.
for a couple weeks. Come home.
Sleep in your bed,
Sleep in the
take a shit, feel good.
The little things.
The little things in life.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, like living the dream, doing your music and traveling.
I think
People don't know the hard part.
I was literally about to say there's like the other side that people don't see because the shit that people only see is the Instagram stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is DJing glamorous? This like what
For
do you
an
think
hour-
about that?
For an hour every 24 hours, yeah, it's glamorous.
It's, you know, and it's, I'm not complaining, but there's a lot of just horrible downtime of like
Doing nothing.
going to the airport, waiting at the airport, waiting for the delayed flight, waiting on the flight, going to the next hotel.
Or like, especially if you're hungover, like emotionally, you just feel fucked and it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, I think, you know, mentally too, it can be really tough because you're like, just the ups and downs where it's like, I mean, I've had moments where I'm like, you know, you're headlining a party and you're like the center of attention and you're like, oh, everything's great, and then an hour later you're alone in a hotel room missing your wife, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
suddenly you're just like some dude, you know what I mean? And then it happens over again, and then you're at the top of the world for an hour, and then down, and then yeah, it's just a bizarre way of life, I think.
Or
that we're
even
not built for.
even the polar opposite, where like, if you're playing a big party and there's like an expectation from people, and you kind of think, oh, what if I don't meet that? That's the other thing that fucks me
Yeah,
up.
you're always nervous. And
Yeah, people don't think we're nervous, but we fucking nervous.
Do you get nervous before your shows?
Every show.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
No matter what size it is.
doesn't matter.
Sometimes the smaller shows are the most nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, because it's intimate.
It's intimate. You're like, you see
feel-
everybody, like
you-
everyone's there.
Well, you feel like a circus act because everyone's just like looking at you, feeling like, you know?
Yeah. And especially if you're not the kind of DJ that gets on the mic and you're not like all like jumping on the
I'm
fucking
very-
stage.
yeah, I'm
and
definitely
I know you're not
reserved.
that kind of DJ. Like
You got your moves. I know. Taiki's got moves.
Taiki has got moves.
I've got this one.
He's pumping his
And that
both fists and then he's doing the gun fingers. Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And you kind of do the head down cigarette thing.
Really?
You bob around. There's definitely like a vibe. I
Siggy-
like it. Yeah.
Siggy moves.
The Siggy moves.
Siggy moves. Have you ever stood on a table?
Never. I
have.
I can proudly say
I have.
I have. Have you?
Oh,
You
I
have.
have, yeah. I have.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
It's cool. Like I can do it when someone else kind of initiates it. Then I'm like, cool. This
But you
is
can't.
fun.
You can't be the
But
icebreaker.
if I'm just alone at playing my show, I feel like a dickhead. I'm gonna stand on the table.
I'm in this kind of grey area between like
It's fun though.
standing on the table or not.
Maybe that would be me tomorrow. Maybe I'll fucking stand on the table tomorrow.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. We'll make sure it's set up.
Okay.
With some room for you to stand.
Stable. Make sure
Do your
it's
whole
stable.
set
Mate.
standing up.
Oh no, that's what I was going to talk about. Do you remember the night-based show when the bottle got thrown? That's another crazy story. The bottle got thrown and it smashed on my shoulder,
Oh yeah.
Oh
what-
shit! I remember that.
Yeah,
Dude.
And there was a
City
whole
was that?
commotion about it.
I
like,
know, because
the fuck.
there was like 4 different stories. One person was saying it smashed because the bass was so loud, and I was like, "Do you know how loud it had to be?"
Nah, someone threw it at you.
Someone
I
fucking
saw
threw
it.
it. Yeah,
It's
someone,
on video. I have it on video.
Someone fucking threw
On my
that
high
shit
8
at
camera.
me.
I swear. I gotta find that.
But like, I didn't even notice until after, because everyone came up to me and been like, "You alright?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" Someone threw a bottle at you. Oh, did they? Like,
and then we had to clean it up. It was like a whole thing.
yeah, I didn't know about
They were going for you.
that. Shout out the haters.
Because I saw a couple. Someone, I think they threw
You might have
another
dropped a
one.
hard dub.
And they were like,
You
"What the
never
fuck
know.
is
They might
that?"
have just got so
Yo, I need a bottle.
So
of that guy.
pissed off that the tune was so good.
right. It's like, give me that dub.
Sometimes there's like a weird energy in the air in a night. You know what I mean? Like at a party. And I did notice there was a lot of glass going. Like someone was lining them up on the front of the DJ booth. I don't know if you noticed that. There was like people were putting empty bottles.
Yeah.
And then a couple flew. I mean,
Like
it was like
shooting
weird.
range.
I don't think it was like an aggressive thing. I think it was like
I'd
fucking
hope it
stoked.
wasn't an aggressive thing, because that was a
Yeah, yeah.
fucking sure throw.
Yeah,
That was a sure
you
throw.
survived it.
Thank you so much for coming in, man. Especially since you're so knackered and like
I'm all good. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
My
Fucking
G.
happy to be here.
Thanks, bro.
Always.
For real. Thank you for coming here all sleep deprived.
Thank you for having me.
Traveled literally around the world
my
and talked
G.
to us. I hope you feel all right. Thank
Always.
you.
Always
It's
got
Night
time
Based
for you.
energy.
The NNRG.
Have fun on your tour.
NRG.
All right, everybody. That was episode 7 of Night Base Energy with Taiki Nulight. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, I'm AC Slater alongside my brother Sinden each and every time. Make sure you check out nightbase.info for all those past episodes and all things Night Base. Until next time, keep up that good Night Base energy.